A very, very good evening, friends. And we are live again on Employability Series with a new person, new perspective, and new sector. So, Skill Connect has started this Employability Series so that actually people can understand that what are the skills exactly required for each of the different sectors and people have lost jobs in this pandemic, or some they want to expand or grow further in their career graph. Some women want to start second innings. So everyone wants to know exactly how or what are the skills which are there or trending in the year 2021. So let us hear from directly from the horse's mouth, the HR person. So let me introduce you to the young, dynamic, and energetic Bhavna. Bhavna Mulchandani is an MBA graduate with more than 9 years of experience in human resource management in multicultural environment of different countries in sectors like ITES and manufacturing. She has worked in different domains of HRM like compensation and benefits, talent management, and organization development. Currently, she is working with Beckard India, and let me tell you, friends, she is young. She has carved a niche for herself in a big giant company like Beckard India. And I am so glad and privileged to have Bhavna with us, who is going to share what are the current trends in HR, how one should approach the company, and what are the skills which are trending in the year 2021. So I'm going to bring to you Bhavna on the stream. Hello, Bhavna. Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
So nice to have you on Skill Connect platform. We have been trying to have this session for a long time, and finally today you are here. So welcome to Skill Connect platform, and hope you enjoy the interaction today.
First of all, thank you so much, Sonali ma'am, for inviting me. And I hope the conversation, what we have, it will help people and the young women and women out there, and it will empower all the women who are listening.
Yes. Bhavna, everyone wants to hear. We have very good audience which are joining in, and we want to hear your journey because you seem very young and still you hold a respectable position in a good company, giant company like Packard. So we want to hear your journey.
Okay, so I'll take 2 to 3 minutes. I'll just explain how I started. So before I start with how I started with my career, let me go back and share some flashbacks. Okay, so first of all, to be very frank, I was not a very good student. I was quite average when I was in school. However, you talk about curriculars, I was the first one to raise my hand, and may it be anything, may it be drawing, painting, dancing, apart from singing, of course, anything, and doing projects, creative things. And I used to love supporting teachers, and that was kind of a bunk I used to have in school, helping teachers with craft making and project making. So, as I was not an average student, over the period of years, I started liking studying. And when I started graduating, when my graduation started, I had that, studying is something which came into me automatically. So I was good with curriculars, but I fell in love with studying a lot of subjects. There was communicative there was enhancing on communication skills, etc., etc. There were a lot of economics, a lot of lovely subjects we went through. And then of course, then I convinced my parents, and they allowed me to pursue my masters in Pune, which is hub of education in India. It's kind of called Oxford as well. So Oxford of India, rather. So I went there, did my post graduation, and I studied masters in personal management and PGDM marketing and PGDMLM. That time our college was allowing that, and we had lovely faculties. Mrs. Sonali Saripalli was one of the faculties over there, and she taught us really. I mean, it was amazing to learn from her. So we learned well, and I still remember while I was post graduating, because I got good scores. I was invited on the stage, and that was a dream come true. Okay, I, who was an average student, did so well in studies, and I was very happy about it. And from that moment, I really thought, initially my thoughts were, okay, I'll be a homemaker, and then maybe I'll do something extra or some craft classes which I used to take as a child for free for small kids. So initially those were my goals, but when this moment came and I knew that I can do something, I can change things around, and from there I fixed my goals. Okay, I have to prove myself, and I have to reach somewhere. So till that time, I was not very sure where it would be, but now I'm sure where I want to be. Suppose that I started my career with Hansa Group, Hansa Global. So it's ITS sector. So I mean, you guys will laugh at it, but my first job, first first job, what I had to do was filing, and I was really pissed off. Okay, what is this filing in so many documents? I was really hating it. And I still remember my dad used to tell me, okay, you should file papers like this, you should fold them and then punch them. And I was like, why my dad is teaching me all these things? But those things paid me off. So for the first day, I was really irritated. But later on, you know what? I thought, okay, I'll do one thing. I'll set targets for myself. I'll ensure that I'll file these many things in so many days. And it worked. And I was happy doing my job. So I found fun in that job. Then later on I started handling payroll and payroll processing, then compensation and benefits, and a lot of things which are there as a part of HR operations. And then after working with Hansa Group almost for 5.5 years, I moved to Beckard, India. So Beckard India is a wonderful organization with amazing culture to work with. And I started in CNB only over there, but my people around me, my seniors, they saw me that I have that flair of doing curricular things and engaging people. So I was given a platform wherein I worked on behavioral safety. Okay, so this the as things are changing. So behavioral safety, where a lot of trainings were involved. Basically, we were trying. It's a small part of OD, organization development, wherein we were trying to ensure that the behavior safety is inculcated inside people. They think that safety is very important. So I did that, and then after that, I moved to talent management, talent development systems, and which involves a lot of succession planning, building talent pipelines for the organization, and learning and development. So this is my professional journey so far, and currently I am handling talent development for Beckard India with learning and development. Also, I'm supporting global HRIS team with softwares. So I will talk about it in some time. So that's how my journey has been so far.
So, Bhavna, very interesting profile you have, and your journey is really inspiring to young people. I must say, and now I want to turn around to a different subject. Like, generally, see, you are very young, and young people are generally attracted to the IT sector, investment banking sector, like that. But how come after, having worked with IT sector, which is supposed to be a glamorous sector, how did you come to the manufacturing sector, and how manufacturing sector is different? This is one question. Another question I want to ask is, what will you tell young people that why they should opt for manufacturing sector, because generally young people, they think that manufacturing sector is very boring, but you are there, you are sharing some different perspectives, so please let us know how it is different from other sectors.
Okay, it's a very good question. So when I went for an interview with Beckard, and I was asked, why do you want to move to manufacturing sector? It's like you are
Right.
working with ITS, you should go and have a job in IT or some ITS organization. And by the way, I had offers of ITS organization that time as well. But I
Yes.
chose to be I chose that being in manufacturing sector would be fun. I'll tell you why. So ITS sector is fancy. It's all about empowering people, and a lot of ops work is there, but it's more into engagement, right? But when we talk about manufacturing system, HR and manufacturing, okay, so the HRD function in manufacturing industry is often concerned with payroll, administrative work, and mediating between management and the workers. It's mostly, when the manufacturing companies, they depend on HRD function when it comes to labor unrest and strikes, and they want HR function to ensure that everything is fine. And while I talk about service sectors like ITS, IT, etc., these companies are seen to be enabling and empowering the employees, right? Now, here is what things are changing. So let me come back to my education. I did masters in personal management. Now, personal management focuses on manufacturing. Of course, it focuses on a lot of human resources aspect as well. However, it focuses more on personal management, which comes into which wherein I'll say like administration in HR, payroll are a part of it. However, now in manufacturing industries, the HR department is not called personal department or personal management department anymore. It is called human resources department. And rather, to be very specific, now it is changing from human resources to human capital. So of course, those legal compliances and other things are there in in manufacturing sector. However, HR department is really changing. Now take my example. I am into talent management, learning and development, focusing on building talent pipelines for future of Beckard. So this shows that how things are changing. And I would really like to say that manufacturing industry is quite amazing. So you get to learn the groundwork, which considers statutory compliances, studying about a lot of laws. You actually are, when you are on the shop floor, on the production floor, you actually get to talk to people who are manufacturing things, and then the perspective is really different. And the moment you enter into the office and you interact with the office staff, it is really different. So you get to learn a lot of things. So managing and understanding people of different mentalities is also involved over there. And in case you like change, change, I mean, everything is changing. We are
Yeah.
talking, something is changing at the back end, something is
True.
being developed. So as everything is changing very fast, and if you love change, and you have to love change, if you don't change with the ongoing trends, you will fall back. So if you love change, being in manufacturing setup is quite good, because things are still changing over there. As I
Yeah.
told you, from the journey from personal management to HR to human capital. So, to the young people out there, I would really say that if you all like change, if you all like, learning, human resources is all about managing individuals, and every individual is different. So, if you
Yeah.
like those things, you can really join manufacturing sector. It is really fun.
Okay, so friends out there who are listening and who are going to listen to this afterwards. So, manufacturing sector seems to be really lucrative, and you can have in your bucket list of recruitment if you want. So, Bhavna, I want to ask you that. Are there any specific skills? So technical skills are different, but are there any specific skills which you want to highlight to get into the manufacturing sector? Because the current government is also pursuing a lot. like Make in India. So there is going to be a boom in the jobs, potential jobs in manufacturing sector. So any specific skills which you want to highlight for this specific sector?
Okay, so talking about skills, of course, technical skills are important. Knowledge about, your thing, whatever you are into, HR, operations, process, quality, etc. It's really important. But at the same time, it is really important to have some behavioral competencies in you. Okay, so there are few skills which I would really say are really important. The first one I would like to say is business acumen. You should really, of course, it's not a skill specifically, but it's really important that you start learning about business from now onwards. Okay, so the
Right.
more you learn about business, the more you'll be able to understand. The more you learn, the more you'll be able to understand the business and support this sector, whatever your job is, better. Now coming back to the specific skills, I would really say the art of communication is something which is really important. So communication doesn't mean that you have to be flawless in speaking and you are
Right.
jazzy and fancy. It means that whatever you are saying, the person in front of you should understand. Because in manufacturing, now when I am on the shop floor, sometimes I see that people, and of course people on the shop floor speak Hindi, Marathi, regional languages, and I see people, they have to understand. So it's really important to ensure that people are understanding what you're trying to say. The
Right.
another one is listening. So listening is part of communication only, but
I know.
specifically, Nali ma'am is smiling, but specifically it is really important. So I myself, I like speaking a lot, but over the period of years, I have learned that God has given us 2 years. So listening is more important. So that's one of the skills you should really have. And nowadays, what, with, of course, we are working with Gen Y, Gen Z, millennials. Things are changing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to be a really good listener. I know that you've got ideas, but the most important is the next skill, which is more important, is being in a team. So I sometimes, what we think, my idea is the best. It's important.
Right.
As young people, I also used to think that. But then over the period of years, I realized that, thinking that your idea is the best is good, but you should ensure that you should ensure that you sell it to the team, and it's the teamwork which will ensure that your idea is executed, and it's just not on a piece of paper. So teamwork is another skill which is really important. Now there are few other things which I would like to say. As the business nowadays is really changing, so it's more, so global and cultural effectiveness is something, understanding the global and cultural impact, effectiveness. Now let's say, for an example, what you say. So in India, so if something is important, we write IMP dot. Okay, that's
Yeah.
IMP is important for us. But when you see in Europe, specifically in Belgium, if you write imp is like a monstrous. You guys can Google it later on. It's like a monstrous creature. So it's just a very small example, but
Right.
understanding. So that is really important. Let's say, for an example, we Indians tend to nod a lot. But now this is open in front of other global people. Now they understand that why do we nod a lot?
Yeah.
Okay, because
Yeah. Yeah.
we are saying yes, that we are able to understand what you are
Yes.
saying.
We
So,
acknowledge.
yes, yes, we do acknowledge. So, understanding. So, this is a very small, teeny tiny example of having a global and cultural effectiveness skill. You can, I know the session is very short, but you can go and Google it and understand how things are working globally. Okay, so these are few skills which are really important. And last but not the least, and I believe it in so much, I believe in that particular skill, is having an ethical approach on whatever you do. That's not a skill. Ethics are not a skill. They are inbuilt. But if sometimes we fancy towards things which are not right for us to do. So it's really important to do whatever you do by having an ethical approach.
Yes, I think
So
you have really made a very good point, and this is very close to my heart. That ethics, professional ethics, very important, or personal ethics as well. So whatever you are doing, wherever you go, if you are not ethical, then I think then there is no point in the existence also. So ethics are very important. Uh, Bhavna, what are there are two questions in this, that what are the specific skills that you look for when you recruit a fresher, and what are the specific skills you recruit if someone wants to start the second innings? So there are many friends here who want to start the second series, and what are the specific skills for these two when you recruit?
Okay, so what I'll do, I'll split your question in two parts. So first, I'll tell the skills required, what we look into basically, or what I also look into specifically while we recruit or I recruit. So I'll talk about freshers, and then I'll talk about experienced personnel, and after that, maybe I'll talk about people who are trying to start their career in their second innings. So there is one thing I always remember is ABS. Now, for a lot of you, ABS is accelerator, brake, and clutch. And for a lot of you, ABS is like a form of your, I mean, being healthy or being, having a physique.
Abs.
But ABS, abs, yes. So ABS for me is attitude, behavior, skill. Okay. So
Wow, great.
attitude, yes. So attitude is something what drives a behavior. Okay, so attitude is there in your mind, what you think. It's your, your base. Okay, it's part of your roots. So we look for attitude, and attitude is something which drives to behavior, and then of course skills are the knowledge or capabilities which are required to do a job. So let me tell you a story over here. So there was a small town years ago, and there was this manager who was, I guess few of you would have already heard this story, but this is kind of close to my heart because it's related to attitude. So yeah, so there was this small town, and there was this manager who asked two of his best salesmen, okay, salesperson. They were really great at their jobs. So he said, okay, you do one thing now. You go to this town and sell the shoes, because these guys used to manufacture shoes, and it was quite years ago, a lot of years ago. So now the first salesman went in there, and let's call the person anything, John. Okay, so John went there and saw that no one is wearing shoes. Okay, so John, just dialed the manager's number and said, what, boss, I think this is not a market for us, and no one is going to buy shoes, and it's just a waste of time. Now, as the other person, let's say the person is named. Let's say the person is named Era. So Era went there, and Era, she saw things around, okay, and she said, "Oh, no one is wearing shoes. Oh my God, it's very bad." So, but then she carried a kind of very positive attitude, and she called her boss and said, "You know what, boss? The full market is ours. We have to just do one thing, ensure that we put out a stall or a shop over there or a moving cart, and then our shoes will, be sold like hotcake." So it's all about attitude. So
Right.
as a fresher, sometimes we do not have those many knowledge, we do not have that much of knowledge or those many skills, but what you're being assessed on is your attitude. And of course, it doesn't mean that you should not have some skills. It's really important to have the skills at the same time. So doing some courses, additional courses along with your studies. Let's say, for an example, if your passion is to enter into quality management, so you can do some 5S or 6 Sigma courses alongside. So that will enhance your skills individually. And of course, once you're giving the interview, your attitude is perfect. You're very optimistic. You're positive about things. And then, of course, the skills will help you. And those additional courses, what you have done, will help you to answer the questions which the person is asking, and it will help you to relate the business more. This is all about freshers. Now, let me talk about experienced people. So, when we hire experienced personnel, and may it be at any level, at any senior level, you guys would have heard it already. So, first one was ABS, the second one is ASK, ask. So, ask, I think Sonali ma'am already knows it. So, ask is attitude, skills, and knowledge. Okay, so over the period of years, whenever you study and whatever knowledge, so you keep on working, right? So, and with that experience comes knowledge. Okay, so that knowledge is something, so attitude and skills you all understand now. So knowledge is something which is also very important. And you know what? I have 9 years of experience, 9+ years of experience. I have some experience in the past. I had my own startup, etc., etc. But after so many years of experience, also I still believe that I do not have that much of knowledge. So it's really important to continuously upscale yourself. Now, coming to the second question, when you say that women who are starting to, who are thinking of starting the work or whatever,
Okay.
as you call it,
Second
second
innings.
innings. So, for that, I would really like to say one thing. Knowledge is something. So, knowledge, I know that we all women like diamonds and jewelry a lot, but knowledge is a jewel which no one can take away from you. And that's really important. So, just a suggestion, let's say I know that it happens outside, and sometimes when we are trying to find a job after a break, it's kind of difficult to find a job. So, you know what? There is one thing you can do: upscale yourself, enhance your knowledge. You can enroll into a 2-3 months course that will help you find another, next job very well. Of course, and there is scope for people who are trying to start after their second innings. I have seen examples myself. I know it's difficult, and I know sometimes it is also a study that if a man and a woman, if a the person, they're doing the same jobs, but then a women gets 70% of the salary as compared to men. I understand all those things, and I know that we put in 100% efforts to do whatever we have to do. We have to fight, more sometimes. I
Yeah.
really understand that. But if you upscale yourself, if you study, there is opportunity. So whenever you go for your job interviews, ensure that you brush up a little bit, ensure that you study, and those courses or those brush ups, what you have done while going for an interview, that will help you. And of course, there is scope for the second innings, because what you have gathered is knowledge while you were working before you took a break. And motherhood, I think, is the best. I mean, Sonali ma'am can explain it well. It's the best experience a woman could ever have. And if you have just taken a few years off, that's fine. You will be able to find jobs later on. And as a matter of fact, I know that women are very determined and hardworking. And we tend to, and it's also saying that women are very committed towards their job as
Right.
compared to men.
Right.
So that will really help you to rise that ladder soon, and you will be able to reach the pinnacle very soon. So
Right.
that's
Right. Right. So true. So true. As an HR specialization, suppose I have taken my specialization as an HR. And when I go for the job interview, so there are some typical questions, that tell about yourself and what are your strengths and everything. But apart from that, what are the current trends that people should know, which are going or happening in HR field? So, can you throw some light on that?
Yes, sure, why not? So HR, as I told you, HR is changing to human capital now, human capital management.
Hmm.
And and let me tell you, so what does human capital management means? Okay, that encompasses the same processes, but also includes workforce, rewards, and talent management and workforce management better. So there are few things which are really, really changing. So there are few things which are old, but are, I mean, which were, I would say, they were found in 90s, and there were theories and theses before that, but they are coming into trend again, which is really need of the hour. That is
Oh,
that is reverse mentoring. Okay, and managing burnouts. We'll talk about those in a little bit of time. Then, you know what? One thing which is really changing is remote working practices. So now work from home is changing to work from anywhere. Okay, so of course, manufacturing setup, you have to be in the roots, but HR is a support function. So hybrid working is also there. So hybrid working is nothing but working from office for a few days. So let's say if you have a 5 days working, 3 days you'll work in office, or 3 days you'll work in home, or 2 days in office, or vice versa, whatever. So hybrid working is really big, changing because of pandemic. Also, there is a push. However, it was coming into trend before pandemic also. And remote working practices are something which is really enhancing. So you will see people have their own setup at home. So this chair and this table, maybe it's a small angular corner, but it's for me, it's for my work. So a
Correct.
small space in the home. So those are the things which people should know and understand and read before they go for an interview. And there are few things which are really important, and the world is driven by them now. That is data and AI. The world knows that things are changing. In fact, the sentimental analysis, whatever are being done, are driving, the change in the nation and a lot of places as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think you guys would have, a lot of you would have seen I am not able to recall the name of the documentary. I think it's Social Dilemma, which is available on Netflix. It explains
Yeah.
how you have seen it. So it's
Yeah.
good. So how sentimental analysis and AI is driving us. So AI, of course, a lot of people think AI is bad and blah blah blah, but then it is also positive. How it is positive? Because big data is something which helps you understand things around. Okay, and making HR chatbots. Okay, so we see there are a lot of chatbots, a lot of organizations or apps use apps wherein we order food, etc., use chatbots. The same way, HR chatbots is something which is the future of HR. Big data, understanding data, people analytics is something which is really important. Then I would say D and I. Okay, so D and I is nothing but diversion and is nothing but diversity and inclusion, which is trending these days. So diversity, why? Because we know that a lot of it's a men dominated society. Now it has changed a lot. See, we are on a platform where we are talking to each other. So HR is trying to work on diversity. So now that
Mm.
diversity is not only specific to gender, it's just not gender specific. It can also include, I would rather say, disabled people, welcoming transgenders to work
Right.
with us. So that is
Right.
something which is changing, and that's where the future is. At the end, we are human capital management department.
Yeah.
We have to manage human capitals, and inclusion is something really important. So with diversity, inclusion is always tailed. So so there are a lot of organizations which are coming up with policies wherein if you say something disrespectful or you crack jokes about disabled person who's working in your organization, they are coming with policies to fight those things. In fact, there are companies. I'll take example of my own company, which is in Brazil. So we are there in Brazil as well. So over there, there was an issue wherein a person used to wear glasses and used to really enter into the system and see what has happened. So one day, I mean, the HR of the industry, that particular entity saw and asked, "What are you exactly trying to do?" So he says that I have a problem and I won't be able to see
Oh,
properly because I have gone through some issues, etc., etc. So the HR thought, but we cannot do something different for only a single person. If we allow a big screen for this person to see, it will be like everyone will have their own demands.
right.
But you know what? After few days, understanding the situation, he was given a big screen to work on. Not and everyone
Wow.
did not demand it. So
Wow.
that's what things are changing. So
Yes.
apart from apart from D and I would also like to talk about gig economy. Okay, so economy is something which is future of HR. So let me tell you what is gig economy and how does it work. So gig economy works on short-term contracts or freelancers as compared to long-term jobs. This is becoming increasingly rampant in every industry across the globe.
So Bhavna,
So
freelancers you are saying, right? So friends, freelancers also have a scope. So please listen very carefully.
yes. So as I said, gig economy is becoming very common these days. So not so HR as a part of HR community, we have to understand. So I know. So I'll just share an example again. A few years ago, where when I was looking a house for renting. So that time we met a couple. They were married. They had a very cute little daughter. So she said that I'm sorry, I'm working. And she used to be always at home. And it was like 5 years ago. And I went there and I met the lady. And I said, I mean, aren't you a homemaker? You said this at the first time, right? You're a homemaker. So she said, yes, I am a full-time homemaker. However, I work from home as well. So she used to create those because she was creative and into marketing. She used to create small creatives for a baking company. I do not remember the name of that baking company, but she was creating those when I met her. After seeing her work, there was a word of mouth spread, and a lot of people contacted her. And since then, so whenever she used to have time before sleeping or anything, she used to freelance. So there are a lot of jobs available like that. In fact, data entry is something. Of course, companies are trying to have data entry via app or in an automated system as well. However, there are jobs of data entry. So in case, I mean, you just want to work 2 hours a day, example.
Yeah.
Okay, I know that it will not pay a lot because you're working only for 2 hours, but data entry is also something which companies are trying to outsource. Marketing is something which companies are trying to outsource. Payroll management is something
Yeah.
wherein companies are trying to outsource. So the freelancers, there are few job roles for freelancers. It's just to coordinate between the employee and the payroll centers. And then
Right.
recruitment, everyone knows, is a job which is there based out of freelancing, and a lot of female employees are doing freelancing in terms of recruitment, etc. There are a lot of jobs available right there. So gig economy is something which is going to change in the future. In a lot of Western countries, it is already there. In India, this concept is quite new. However, it is coming in and it is going to change the world around. So HR, so freshers or who are young HR leaders or HR managers. So gig economy, they know, and you should really read about it and think how things are changing. And there is one very important. So I'll talk about two more things. The first one is absence of FaceTime. So now what is happening now?
Yeah.
You and I also, all of us. So I am there on a virtual platform. So initially, the body language and everything was so important. But now I know it's a funny thing, but HR, human capital department now is thinking on how to draft policy so that people are not offensive with the body gestures and signals. They should not think that the person is trying to signal. So imagine these little things, how things are
Yes.
changing. So initially we used to talk about, you should maintain your posture, gesture, crossing your legs means something. If you're
Yeah.
seeing up there, it means something. But now it has changed to virtual one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
HR person have to also think about that. And last but that's the most important one, that is employee experience. I
Mm-hmm.
must tell you, it is not a surprise that, HR does depend on employees and user experience. Okay. So it is really important to have employee engagement tools, and engagement does not mean just having some team building activity. It is
Mm.
way beyond it. It is way
Yeah.
beyond it. Industries now are trying to connect with families, their spouses, because they have to retain Gen Y, and Gen Y has seen a lot of change, and retaining Gen Y sometimes is becoming a problem because Gen Y is the most. I mean, you guys would have read a lot of books on Gen Y as well, and I think a few people in the group who are listening or who will listen later are part of Gen Y as well. And Gen Y is the generation who has seen a lot of changes. So from manual and from manual to digital, we have seen it. We have seen everything. So to retain employees and ensuring that the talent, the excellent talent which is there remains with the organization, companies are really trying to ensure that the employee experience is excellent. In
Yeah.
fact, when you talk about, so there are not a lot of organizations who do this, but there are few organizations who give sabbatical leaves also after pregnancy,
Yeah.
because they think that the women who's working with us is exceptionally good.
Yeah.
So there are things. So employee experience is everything. And as we are into service sector, it's just not like you have to do this, you have to punch cards. No, it's all about employee experience now.
Yeah.
And that's the future of HR.
Yeah. I mean, yes, I totally agree. It is a total sea change from what HR function used to be earlier and now what it is. So I remember while you were sharing this that I'm a very big fan of Indra Nooyi, and I actually have read everything about her. I see her videos. So I think this is what she has done first when she became CEO of PepsiCo. That she wrote letter to the employees' parents that how are you, your son is working very nicely with us, and that is where the employees got connected more closely with her, and they started, and the production actually increased so many times from the earlier one. So employee and beyond, I mean, this is the concept. uh, yeah, I mean, really a very thought provoking segment this is, and you have really shared new trends which everyone should know, whether you are a fresher, whether you are going as second innings, and you shared about this freelancing thing also. I think that is also a very good thing. Just one thing I want to ask, that is, what is reverse mentoring? Because this is a concept which is a little new to us.
Yes. So let me talk about reverse mentoring. I mean, I also read it a few months ago, or rather, almost a year ago. So reverse mentoring, people wrote theories on reverse mentoring earlier. GE started it, I think. I think GE was the first organization to adapt it. So what is reverse mentoring? It's nothing but it actually means reverse mentoring. So usually, how does mentoring works? Okay, so a senior person, who's the mentor, and I'm
Mhm.
the mentee. So the senior person teaches me that you should do this. If you want to build a career, you should go here. You should go.
Right.
You should understand all those things. However, reverse mentoring is something which is actually reverse. So let's say as a part of senior, as a part of Gen X, okay, I might not know a few digital things or things which are trending and which might impact my business or boom my business. So now companies are running programs wherein they have freshers who join in.
Oh,
They are the mentors, and mentees could be CEOs or MDs of the organization. They can be VP HRs or VP finance or CHROs or
wow.
CFOs. And they learn because, as I told in the starting, it is really important to learn on and
Right.
upscale yourself. And it's
At all
knowledge and
ages.
learning something. Yes, yes. So the senior leaders learn from the juniors. So it's kind of it's not a strategy, I would say. Of course they learn about digitalization, etc., and they also turn the table, because what happens, the millennials, sometimes the energy is not focused. Okay,
Hmm.
and in this mentor mentee and reverse mentoring thing, automatically it happens that the energy also channelizes.
Right.
So this is the new trend which is coming
This
into
is a
market.
very
Of course,
good concept. Yeah.
I mean, I think, Sonali ma'am, you have young daughters, and you might be learning something from them,
Yeah,
day or
yeah.
the
I
other.
learn every day. All the lessons they teach me.
So that's how it is. And I mean, like my mom fancies, now I'll just share this conversation. It was supposed to be personal, but I can share it. So a few days ago she says that, you know what, Bhavna, I should learn using a laptop very nicely. I think I can do freelancing a little bit. And she's almost 49 or 50, and I mean, she's about to enter into her 50s, and she's like, okay, I want to learn, and she wants me to teach her. So it's kind of something which happens
Yes.
at home, but in industries also it is happening. There are a lot of good articles on reverse mentoring available on HBR, and there are a lot of other platforms as well.
Okay.
You guys should really study about it. It will change the perspective of how you look at things.
Right. Right. So I think ethical hackers, they all are young people. So that is what is, because yes, I mean, young people, they know more than, and they're exposed to the platforms and various digital platforms before us, no? So yeah. And Bhavna, now we have learned, or we have seen that how our attitude should be and everything, but now I'm ready, and I'm ready to apply for the job. So what are the new platforms or job portals that we have, uh, through which, I mean, HR people really go there and look for the recruits. So, what are
Oh,
those trending and very common platforms for where do you go? Like, if you want to recruit someone, where do you go? Which job portals you visit?
I'll be very specific. See, then, so while HR recruits, we have consultants who look for people for us. We have in-house recruiters or, people who are hiring managers who are hiring people. The most common platform of India, I'll share with you is Naukri, and everyone knows it.
Is
However, is Naukri.com,
okay.
and everyone maximum people use it. However, there are others as well, like I am jobs, which is trending now. LinkedIn is a new one. LinkedIn is also a very good platform to search for jobs, and recruiters at the back end are using those. And there are many, like if you want to look for a government job, then you'll go to India Gov job. There are a lot of portals, but most common ones are Naukri, LinkedIn. These are the top two, and then Indeed, Times Job, Hirest, all these come in the same category. However, there is one thing I would like to tell you. As I say that Naukri is the most common platform to find people. Okay, and nowadays the recruiters also, and LinkedIn as well. And nowadays recruiter, if they download your profile from Naukri, they'll ensure that they'll go to LinkedIn and they'll check your profile as well. So if you're trying, so of course you'll apply via Naukri and LinkedIn or any other platforms which are available. Sometimes we also go on the organization's website and apply for jobs. So recruiters are looking into that. But there are few tips I would like to share over here. So if you're a fresher and if you're trying to find a job via this portals, okay, so there is one thing you should keep in mind, that the CVs what you let's say you have uploaded a CV today, okay, and you do not go and log into Naukri and do not see for like say next 7 days. It won't work, because what does data do? Data, how does data works? I mean, the more you log into it, the more you update your profile, the more your profile comes up for the people to see you. And there are thousands and lakhs of CV available, lakhs and
Right.
lakhs of CV available over there. So you have to ensure that you log in and update your profile frequently. So that's the one thing. And there is one most important thing. You must have a LinkedIn profile which has a nice photograph. So when I say nice, it has to be okay, kind of professional. And you should have that photograph. Your LinkedIn profile should be up to date. And if you are freshers, try to get some comments or comments from your faculties, or ensure that they embark on your traits and say this person is doing good or has done good or extremely well in the college. Or people who are trying to enter into the industry after their second innings, they can ask their ex-colleagues to ensure or promote their skills what they have already entered. So
Right.
I would say Naukri and LinkedIn, but all other portals are also good, but maximum usage in India is Naukri and LinkedIn.
Okay, great. So, one last question from my side. Uh, what is the message that you want to give today? Whatever message, whatever.
Okay, so whatever message I see, I am a strong believer of few things. First of all, I would like to give a message to the freshers or people who are are trying to enter into their second innings, and especially freshers. It is said, and you guys would have read it already, but it's something which I really like. Success or career development is a journey, not a destination. Okay, the doing is often more important than the outcome. So sometimes what we think, if I get a job in an excellent organization, that's my goal. I mean, the company should have 1 lakh plus employees, etc., etc. It's not like that. See, it's good to have dreams. It's good to think, okay, I want to reach at X, Y, Z level at so and so place, in so and so organization. But at the same time, it is really important to develop your skills. So start your journey. Take the first step. Opportunities do not seldom knock your door. So whatever opportunity you're getting, try to, of course, I'm not saying that HR person should enter marketing all of a sudden, but if you're getting a good opportunity, take them. Do not wait for your dream job to come in, because now that's what I believe in, because now things are changing rapidly. So working in smaller organizations is also okay. You have to start learning, understand there, and then ensure that you're working to get your dream job simultaneously. And the
Yeah.
moment you think that I want to be XYZ, okay, the moment you think that, that's the moment it's ensured you'll be able to grab it and you'll be wherever you want to be.
Right.
But just thinking doesn't help. You have to really set goals, smart goals, which are specific, which are measurable, which are time bound. Time bound. So let's say after 3 years, I want to see myself here. So work for it. Sometimes it works within 3 years, sometimes it is 5 years. So go easy on yourself. And last but not the least, enjoy your life as well. So see, I'll tell you, a lot of times while we work, while we start working, we see few things which are not very interesting. I mean, okay, one part of the job I love a lot, but the admin part of the job I hate a lot. But it comes with the other part as well. You have to do everything. So try to enjoy everything you do. And that's how you'll be really happy to whatever you are doing. And as the session was more focused on HR, I would really like to say that, just I would like to say add one more thing in terms of HR. See, HR is becoming leaner day by day. So it will not be HR generalist or HR ops person anymore. It will be more specific. Okay, so people who are looking out for HR jobs, ensure that you also upscale yourself with a specific skill of HR, which can be learning and change rather than development. Again, the word is changing to learning and change, OD, or
Right.
compensation and benefits. Just believe it, you can do it, and I think you will be able to do it. I believed in myself, and I had a very good support. I had amazing teachers to teach me. I told Sonali ma'am also, she taught me. I had amazing people to guide me. My parents were very supportive. I was lucky as well. Few of us sometimes are not lucky, but it's on us how do we find our way. And always remember, whatever you do, follow an ethical approach. That's my
Wow. So I'm feeling so proud today to listen to you. And thank you so much, Bhavna, for taking out your time from your busy schedule, your office, and coming here, sharing your thoughts. We learned so many new things in HR. And thank you so much. And goodbye. Take care.
Thanks a lot for inviting me. It's an amazing platform, and I think it is going to help a lot of young people and women out there. And thanks a lot to you, Sonali ma'am, for initiating it. And last but not the least, being my teacher, you have taught me a lot of things. And you know what? I think, of course, parents are our first teacher, but the teacher, being a professor, you have taught a lot of things to me, and the ethical approach, what I talked about. I don't know you remember or not, but that's the thing what you taught me, and I have really taken it along. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So, friends, today we had a very, very interesting session from a young person who has thrown light on so many new trends, so many new things. And like she said, today was the reverse mentoring session for me as well. And in this employability series, next coming Friday, we will again come up with new person, new skills, and new concept. Till then, goodbye. Have a very good day and take care. Thank you.